Hey guys, welcome to Goodwill Dynamics. We like to tackle issues of goodwill in our complex contemporary world. What does goodwill mean? How do we pursue it? If you're interested in those kind of questions, you like content oriented around that sort of thing, please like and subscribe. Uh, Hit that little bell so you'd be notified when we come out with a new video, which does happen pretty often. Today, as we often do, we're going to look at a Reddit post having to do with certain social and emotional issues a person is having. And we're going to discuss that in light of the concept of goodwill. So, Adam, whenever you're ready, let's get that story started.
I'm 27 female, struggling with how my social life changed over the last years and unsure how to fix it. So I'm probably not the only one who hasn't loved their social life over the last roughly 1.5 years. March last year, my social life was looking pretty good. I had joined a new company a few months before, and the employees were all very social and cool. We got along great with many team events, parties, hanging out together after work, etc. There was even talk of going on vacation with some of them in the winter. Well, that obviously didn't work out. Since then, we have all been on home office 100%. There was an attempt to do online team events and stuff early on, but it has pretty much faded out. Due to not meeting in person anymore, those new contacts kind of faded out, and some of the coworkers I was hoping to become friends with left for other teams or their home countries. I do enjoy the benefits of home office, but I would like to still socialize at least sometimes with my coworkers. We are now at a point where we can work back in the office again if we want, but the vast majority seems very happy to just continue home office for the most part. So there are only one or two people of my team in the office at any given time, and there is basically no events or any after work stuff. The social spirit seems to have mostly died off, with seemingly no one interested to bring it back. In general, I thought most people would be eager to meet in real life again and party as soon as it's possible. Everyone was talking about it, but now most seem to have settled into the staying at home routine instead. At most, they want to play games online, but I'm so sick of that. Maybe that's just the people I know. I don't know. We are all vaccinated, and I don't think it's just because of infection risk concerns. It's not like I'm a huge party animal or anything. I just like relaxed socializing over a beer sometimes. I also used to have a pen and paper group where we would meet in person whenever it was currently legal. But early this year, it fell apart because the DM said he didn't want he didn't want to continue, and contact just completely stopped. Now, it wasn't like we had been super close or anything, but that was one more social group lost. Then I started another D&D group with some coworkers where we can play only online, however, and it is currently on pause due to the DM being too busy. I also used to have a best friend of many years, and we still met in person a few times throughout, but I'm pretty sure he is currently trying to fade out. Our friendship ghosted me, as I haven't heard from him in months at this point. And our last interactions were all initiated by me, and I don't want to bother him if he doesn't feel like hanging out anymore. So basically, at the moment, I have no friends, a few friendly acquaintances at best, and no regular socializing. I live alone, which normally I like a lot, but not if I sit at home all day with no socializing almost every day. Now, I do keep myself busy. I have pets, I go outside, have hobbies, etc. But almost all my hobbies are solitary stuff like writing and reading, etc. I do also get some online stuff, but it doesn't do much for me. It's better than nothing, but not close to the real life stuff. I assume I have to try and find new friends somehow. Currently, that is still a bit difficult because most things are not open or only limited. Most stuff on Meetup is only online, etc. I've even tried to reconnect to old friends I haven't seen in years, not just because I'm lonely right now. I'd wanted to meet back up with them for some time. And that worked out and was great, but we live far apart, so it's not going to be a frequent thing. I don't have the easiest time making friendships anyway. I generally get along with people in a group and seem well liked enough, but actual deeper friendships don't usually happen. Not entirely sure why. I'm not sure what I'm asking. Is this how it's going for you too? Anyone struggling with the same? Do you think people are just kind of in the pandemic spirit and will become more willing to meet in person again when things improve? Any tips? Too long didn't read. Pandemic and home office have made my social life almost non-existent. Not sure if that's a common experience and what to do about it.
Okay. Well, this is something I think many will find relatable these days. So eager to talk about it here. As always, let's do some brief introductions. My name is Nick. I'm joined by Joshua.
Hey.
I'm joined by Annie.
Hi.
And I'm also joined by the voice you just heard reading the story, Mr. Adam.
Hello.
And wow, so what do we think? This is
I know you were isolated in Antarctica for the last 3 years and just came back a few months ago. So you must have a lot of insight, Nick, right?
I know I only look like that, but I think we're only kind of diagnosing the spirit of the age here, right? We're only seeing what humanity's been through the last couple of years. What I don't know. How do we connect this? I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm wondering what leaps out at you guys.
Well, I think one thing that that stands out to me is the introspection as to what's going on with you. Like the pandemic and lockdowns have maybe we should say world situation so we don't get deranked and so let's use that language on YouTube. But yeah, the global situation has made people, they can't do things the way they have, and it's forced people to reflect. And yeah, so this person might have some stuff to think about in themselves that needs to be looked at, and not just because what the situation has done is sort of cut off people from doing things the way they've done things, rightly or wrongly. And that's an opportunity to think, well, what was everything I was doing correct, or is there some things in me to look at that need to change?
Always an opportunity for self-reflection, right? When your outlets are more limited, that's one thing for sure.
Yeah, I think this hits hard for me. I mean, I'm sure many people can relate to this post and this person's feelings. And I look at it from a generational standpoint, right? Like people, I mean, I don't want to give away my age, but my age, I think we were pretty good, pretty integrated, and pretty good at socializing in person when I grew up, and I think that continues. But there is a younger generation that, with all this technology being online, it became easier to stay at home or have your face in a video game or whatever. And so social interaction was sort of scarce, compared to what older generations had experienced. And that may be, I'm not condemning that or judging that necessarily. I think over time, generations work out the use of technology and social interaction, and they kind of figure it out. But the pandemic then, or the world situation, excuse me, it sort of takes that to another level. And my heart bleeds for younger generations, especially, who haven't learned those skills and now are in a situation where it's even, the world has said to them, it's even more incumbent upon you that you don't interact in person. And now it's, and so how do they recover from this? And maybe this is just what humanity needed, was to realize how, we look at our emotional well-being and our lives, and we need to, like Joshua said, introspection hopefully will fuel some of this, and there will be more people eager to get out and realize, okay, two years of playing video games really isn't fulfilling. I need social interaction. And so maybe this was just exactly what we needed, and we can reverse course.
Yes, it's interesting that I mean, she did mention, right, that she has trouble making actual close friendships. So you wonder, you know, maybe it will be a good thing to sort of turn off this I don't know, the dopamine drip of more superficial relationships. But you know, it's like there's part of it seems to be, you know, people kind of go the path of least resistance a lot of the time. I mean, I feel like, you know, when you're in an office environment working, it's sort of like, in a way, it's more the path of least resistance, or at least there's a clear sort of line to, you know, let's go out and have a good time with these people that I've been working with all day, and let's blow off stress. Like, because, you know, the blowing off stress becomes more of sort of an automatic reaction when you've been in the office all day. And so now that there's an opportunity to stay home, it's like that's the path of least resistance, right? You're just kind of at home, and that's relaxing and nice. And why, you know, why go somewhere? So I wonder if that has to do with it too. And that's kind of related, right? It's kind of related to what we're saying about, you know, the depth of relationships, and, you know, exploring your own, I don't know, psyche, your own mind, and what is it that you actually want from a relationship, you know, that kind of thing.
I agree with all of you about this situation in the world today. It really has been difficult for many people because they have to sit at home so much, but it's also a good opportunity, like you guys said. I think what she might do, if she wants some tips, could be like finding a new job. It's not everywhere that they go 100% for homework. And she also said they could go into work, so there must be other places probably. So she could look for a new job, or she could, I mean, she's taking initiatives. She's trying to come out and create groups, and she mentions twice when she did that. And that means she's capable of doing it. So she could just try and do that again. Maybe find some other people with the same hobbies as hers. Try to get out, see those people instead. There are possibilities, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, a funny story, a funny thing happened to me. And this was just by chance, but I guess to your point of getting out there, you run into people. So I was at this supermarket, and I ran into this guy, and he had a 20-sided dice painted on his thumbnail. And I'm like, is that a 20-sided dice? And he's like, yeah. And he shows me the rest, and he had different sided dice on the rest of his fingers. And I was like, hey, isn't that something? And he's like, yeah, I play D&D, which this person plays also. And Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who don't know the acronym. Long story short, I was like, yeah, I play, but, you know, I don't really ever get to play. And he's like, oh, I have this D&D group at this gaming store that opened recently. And so I started going over there, but that, you know, just came out of the blue. So you might do a search to see if there's any gaming stores, and, you know, that have campaigns going on or things like that in your area. That's one thing.
Yeah, I think those are good points, Annie and Joshua. The default is, you know, especially younger generations, is to look online for connection and then perhaps make it happen in person. But maybe what's needed here is to actually go out in society. You know, make yourself a regular at the local coffee shop. Be there every day at from 3 to 4, and just see what happens. See who other people are that are regulars there. And you know, I know you have to be sensitive, because some people are more nervous about the situation in the world right now. But there might be opportunities to connect. So make yourself a regular doing certain things, going at certain times to the store, like and look for opportunities, connections like Joshua talks about. That's a really good point.
Yeah, if you could just strike up a conversation with somebody, and you know, some of them won't go anywhere, right? But some of them will, or maybe you'll find out something you didn't know, or and it could lead to something.
Yeah.
And maybe it's
Starts to,
some guy in this men's group had this thing where he was really selfish, and he just decided to flip it and try to help people. And when he did that, he made a lot of connections. Like I think one thing was with suicides. Like there was people that would post about, you know, bad stuff that happened to them, and he tried to be their friend and help them. And so that's one thing you could do. You could, you know, just try to start something and try to help people in some way, and that could lead to different things. It sounds like, I mean, there's maybe not enough information, but that maybe she hadn't fostered, or something about her didn't lead to lasting friendships. Like people she talked about, it was kind of like, oh, we're done, this is over with, or this person just sort of ghosted me or drifted away. And, you know, maybe there's something within her to look at as to why those are the people she's attracting, and she's not coming into contact with more solid stand-up kind of people.
Yeah, yeah.
And part of that might be, like you said, Adam, the generational thing of younger people being all online and very little in-person stuff.
Yep. Well, yeah, and changing habits is sort of in a way the beginning of self-reflection, of becoming a more solid person, right? I mean, you kind of, if you can't change your habits, then, you know, your fate's kind of already sealed in a way, right? Like things are kind of just going to run downhill from where your habits are. But yeah, that's all good points. Anything else about this one that we need to examine?
I would just say, you know, reemphasize, don't start online, get out there, start in person, see what happens.
I like that.
Yeah, think positively. Think I'm gonna find these people somehow, and you know, obviously put in the effort, but maybe visualizing you're finding these relationships and connections would help.
Yeah, not just being in a curated environment, you know, going out there can be very important. All right, well, it was a good discussion. That's going to be the end for this one. As always, as I said in the beginning, please like and subscribe our channel if this is the kind of content that you're after. And leave a comment if you've got points to make, opinions to share, or you have experiences in the same vein. I think a lot of people do. Please don't hesitate to leave a comment, and have a blessed day. We'll see you.
Yeah,
next
leave a
time.
comment. Maybe you'll connect with somebody. Who knows?
It can happen. It can happen to you. All right, later, guys.